Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 22.
22.
It's not as good as 21. 22. It's like life. When you start getting older, it sucks.
Yeah.
Mm.
What are we talking about today? Actually,
What?
let me know how old you all are.
What?
Like, listening.
Well, yeah, because Brian just said to me, I wonder how many people are actually engaged. Because obviously there's a maximum amount of people that would be interested in this, be people engaged. And I was like, actually, Brian, not everybody that listens is engaged. Some people are married and single.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe we'll put a little poll up. You can let us know a little bit about you. ASL. Do you remember that?
Yeah. What's your age, sex, location?
Yeah. Back from the MSN days. Let's roll the intro and then we'll get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and welcome
The Unfiltered Bride Podcast. Tips from the top table and beyond.
so you know it's going to be juicy.
This podcast has been sponsored by the wonderful Crafty Lab. Unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that I got married last year, and these guys created one of my favourite elements of the wedding.
Oh, I love them. These were your newspapers, weren't they?
Yes. So we used them as a little guide to the day for guests. So we included order of the day, crossword, bridal party names, our love story, QR codes for image sharing, Spotify playlist link, and believe it or not, more things. It was so personal, and you know that I love a bit of personality in a wedding.
They're professionally designed for each couple, so it's not just a template that someone else will have. Each couple gets a truly unique newspaper. They don't print until you're 100% happy to, so even for you type A brides, you'll love them.
They have amazing customer service. They really cared and went above and beyond to make sure that we were happy, which we were. A small business with a big heart.
You can have them anywhere and everywhere, and you even had them in the taxis on the way to the ceremony and dotted around the venue. But I've also seen them on ceremony chairs, wedding breakfast tables, and in accommodation. And at 89p a copy, why wouldn't you?
So head to thecraftylab.co.uk to secure your spot in their order book. But be quick, there are limited slots for each month, and once they're gone, they're gone.
So get them booked. You definitely don't want to miss out. If you're wanting to find out more, we've popped their details in the description below.
Okay, I want to talk about a topic.
Oh, go on.
I'm going to put it out there straight up. It's boring.
Oh,
I have got genuine PTSD from this.
I'm going to let Georgie take this one.
No, I don't want this one.
I'm off.
No,
I'm out.
To the point
Ta-ra.
where,
Toodle pip.
for my wedding,
Au revoir.
I fully outsourced
Ciao.
it. I outsourced this so hard, and even they couldn't then do it, and it came back to me, and I fucking hated every single inch of doing this. And when people ask me about it, I'm like,
What is it?
transport, tumbleweed.
I need a sound effect, Brian.
I just did it.
Brian's giving me side eye.
He hates us today. It's okay.
He's literally being a
It's
right little
hot in
brat.
He's
He's not got his director hat on, and I feel like
Yeah.
he's just stroppy without it.
I know. I agree.
Um,
Anyway. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. We start to talk about transport, and then everyone goes, blah, 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 blah. I'd rather talk about something else. That's what happened our entire wedding journey.
I'm bored.
I know, but it's got to be talked about. It's got to be discussed, and it's got to be sorted, because there is nothing. Shall I tell you what everybody will remember from your wedding? Not being able to fucking get home.
Okay, let's start at the start of the day then.
Okay.
How you get into the wedding venue? How you get into? Let's do church. Do church first, then wedding venue.
Okay. Well, okay. I don't even know where to start. For fuck's sake. It's just such a shit topic. Anyway, so first things first, please don't waste money on a nice car if nobody's going to see it. If you're just going from, say you're getting ready somewhere. So like I got ready at an Airbnb, and then I was getting brought over to the venue, and then I was there on ceremony all day. I went in my dad's car. He put ribbons on it. It was really cute. But I'm not paying for a really nice car because everybody's in the ceremony and nobody can see anything.
I mean, unless you want pictures, but I'm not mad on a car.
It just doesn't.
Jack
do
would
it for
want
me.
like a Lamborghini or something stupid.
But also men that then get in cars to come over, again, nobody sees it because they're there before everybody.
Do you know what? Actually,
Go on.
talking about cars, Jack was going to get his brother like a sports car to drive them from his house.
I was like, what?
No, from his house to the wedding venue, like as like a wedding present or whatever. And I was like, no.
How much?
What? No, but one, you've never driven a fucking sports car in your life.
He wanted to drive it.
Yeah. Or like the groom to drive it. Imagine that.
Nah.
Sorry, can't make it. We've crashed a sports car.
I did a wedding once where they crashed after their ceremony. It wasn't a bad crash, so it was fine. But he did crash the dad's car. It was horrific.
But I think a supercar is not the time to be trialing it on the morning of your wedding. So I was like, that's a stupid idea, Jack.
Yeah.
And you're all going to want to have a drink in the morning.
Yeah.
You know,
If first point is anybody going to see the car?
Yep.
If no one's going to see the car, it really doesn't matter. Get a taxi. nobody cares. Like, get a nice taxi, but literally nobody cares.
Yep.
If you are going to a church, then you might then want a nicer car because it will be parked outside the church and people will see you get back in it to then go from church to. So the only time that I think a car makes sense is between church and venue.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Or again, if you're really into cars, cool. Do something like do whatever you want for that bit. But I just wasn't my thing. You also need to think about bridesmaids and whoever else is getting ready with you in the morning.
Yep.
So we had to get one of my bridesmaids' partners to come and get them in a bigger car to then take them all over to there.
It's like what I do when we do the logistics of a wedding. It's like, what is it?
Yeah.
How many are there?
Yeah.
How's it getting there?
Yeah.
Like all of that. It's like who, what, where, why, how. Like
Yeah.
on everything. Like bridesmaids, literally just like you did. Bridesmaids.
How are they getting there?
How are they getting there?
And then also think about getting back because quite often people will book like, say they're going to a church. The bride will book a car for the dad and her, and it'll go over, and then it'll be bringing the bride and the groom typically back. Where's the dad going?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the dad? Like typically, yeah, they'll get in with a car with somebody else, but you've got to sort it out.
It's a logistical nightmare.
And it will actually ruin the day because it's literally just stood there and your dad can't then get back to the thing. You got to wait for a taxi and all drams. So yeah, you need to think about how the first set of people are getting over there, typically groom and groomsmen. Then do you need to worry about the guests? Do you need to worry about parking? So like what if you're in a church with no parking?
That's ridiculous because you know what? Your car will not be able to pull up outside the church.
True.
Obviously, they do reserve the space 9 times out of 10, but double check it. But also, sometimes churches are usually down like a narrow lane, and I've seen it before where the wedding car cannot get down, and it's a
yeah. I think if
also, can I just say, the other day somebody blocked our van in at a wedding venue. So then we're then in the drinks reception, like, who's got a red whatever?
Can the person with the red Fiat 500?
The number. What's the number plate where they?
BJ4ME.
So that happened, and it's just like, come on, use your common sense. And do you know what it is?
No, guests don't have common sense.
It's guests running late, and they're just like, shit.
Yeah.
Skirt.
Skirt. Yeah, I think if you're at a church, then I would, or anytime you're in a church, get the people to go to the venue first, and then sort out a bus from venue to church to venue.
We did that for Jenny and Will's wedding.
Yes,
They had a baby.
Yes, they did. Congratulations.
Yeah, then we got a coach because it was just so much easier. We just got a lift, or some people got a taxi, because that is the best way to do a church. Get everyone there on their own, and then you organise from there to the wedding breakfast.
No, what?
Everyone gets there on their own.
No, you can't.
Not the wedding party though.
No, because you've got to get your car to be at the venue, surely. This is my issue with transport, right? Because how much you sort of
confuse that.
Where are you? So if you're going to a church wedding,
I'm getting a lift, hun,
to the church.
Yeah.
And then how are you getting home at the end of the night?
Taxi.
Fine, okay. I'm thinking of people that have to drive. That are going to drive. You need to park at the venue.
Then
get from the venue to the church, and then get from the church. So if you're going to put on a bus to take them from church to venue, you might as well do from the first one, venue to church.
Yeah.
But do you know what a coach is?
I don't know, but you just sorted it for us because I literally wouldn't have done it.
Honestly, it was the absolute. We ended up going to, anyway. Well, I won't jump ahead, but the buses were about £800, and I was like, "Fuck! I don't want to pay £800 for a coach. It's just not fun. It's not. The whole issue with transport is it's not fun to spend money on this.
Yeah,
not even slightly. But if you don't sort it out for people,
it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The only reason we did the buses is because it was New Year's Eve. And you would not get a taxi.
But also there was no accommodation on site.
Yes.
If there's accommodation on site, I think it's a lot easier for people to just figure out. And
because they'll drive to the venue.
Oh, yeah,
stay
because
there.
you would have had ceremony, wedding, breakfast on site and stay there. It would have been nice and easy. So ideal world, book ceremony, wedding venue, and
all
it's
on
got
site.
a big car park.
You do, and this is the sort of thing you do actually need to think about when you're booking things like churches and stuff like that. Is because you want your guests to have a nice time, so you have got to think about, well, how are these people getting here?
A lot of the time, it's really annoying as well because it's either a walk away, like a 10-minute walk, or it's a 10-minute drive, which is a bit too long of a walk. So it's like it's just that itty bitty
in betweeny. Yeah, I just yeah. So anyway, so you need to think about groomsmen.
So would you say
there.
like put this on your invites?
It was just honestly, I've got PTSD. Because I remember having to ask everybody, where are you staying? Because I need to be able to sort out you getting back to that place. And then people don't reply. And I'm like, I'm sorting out transport for you to get back somewhere. But until you know,
I didn't reply, so Georgie just booked where I was staying.
I
told me what I was doing in the end.
I actually booked Beth's accommodation, booked her like literally did everything because you're useless. You were great at the styling, useless guest.
I was there though 3 days before when you didn't have a table plan though.
I know, top tier supplier, shit guest.
No, because actually you made me stay till like the latest, till like 2 a.m.
So
I had to
wait,
Brian,
you're jumping ahead.
Brian in the middle of the, not even on the dance floor, just in the middle of the room on a chair, and we were all doing dancing to Usher.
No, you got it.
Ride it, my pony. It turned into a Magic Mike show.
It really did. Anyway, we're jumping ahead. Let's go back because I need to talk about that different timings and stuff.
You talk.
No, because okay. So we've got people. So we need to figure out getting people to the ceremony. How do you feel about putting on transport from, like, say if your venue is an hour away, going from your town to the venue?
Do you know what? I feel like it's very old school.
I started to look at that, and then I was like, hold on, how are people getting to the bus station?
Yep.
And then that's a whole other then. If they're going to get themselves to the bus station, they've got to get somebody to drop them there, and it's a whole other thing.
I think if it's an hour away, you need accommodation anyway.
Nearby, yeah.
Nearby.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think, do you know what? I just wouldn't even deal with it.
So there's got to be a point where you're like, you can sort that bit out.
Yeah.
This is all the information that you should need. Same for accommodation. Here's all the information. You book it. You can't start booking people's stuff for them. Anyway, evening. Let's go to the end of the night then.
So I used to work at a wedding venue that no taxis would come because we'd ring them and then all these drunk people would just go missing, and the taxi driver's like, well, we're gonna have to bill you because you booked our taxi. So we would like be point blank, I'd be like, here's the phone, you deal with it.
I did a wedding the other day and was stood in the like back of house bit, and this guy was shouting at Candice, the owner of the venue. So I came in and was like, can I help? Like, what's going on? And he was like, I need a taxi. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, it is in the middle of nowhere. I was like, I'm really sorry. If you haven't booked somewhere, it's really unlikely that you're going to be able to get a taxi. What the fuck am I supposed to do? And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, I can try. I'll try and find some for you. But it has been told to all the couples that book here, and they tell their guests that if you don't book a taxi, you can't get home. This is fucking ridiculous. How dare you have a venue in the middle of nowhere that doesn't have taxi? And I'm like, are you joking? And then
what did you actually say to him?
I swear, wasn't it Brian had to come in at one point because he was literally shouting at me, and I was like, you can't be annoyed at us because of where the venue is. He's like, I only looked at where the venue was this morning. I was like, well, that's your fault, like, respectfully. And he was absolutely smashed, and I was like, respectfully, that's your fault. And I said, when you got to the travel lodge that you were staying, I was like, did you not look at taxis then? No. And actually, while we're talking about that, there was nobody on reception at the travel lodge, and I was like, okay. I
don't work for the travel lodge.
I was like, what are you? Okay. And he was vile. And I was like, I'm pretty sure there's like people have already booked taxis. So if I were you, I would maybe hang around and see if you can get one of the taxis with them. And he was just vile. And I thought to myself, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to sort it out for you. Whereas if somebody had come in and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I would have taken him home. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't now. Soz, mate.
You've taken bride and groom's places, haven't you?
Yeah.
They've not thought about where they're going.
Yeah. Which wedding was that? Yeah, where they've just, or at the end of the night, I took home Jenny and Will. Yeah. Sorry, you're getting big shout outs on this one because you just don't think about it. You don't think about how are the bride and the groom getting home the night of the wedding.
Yeah.
If you're not staying on site, how are you getting home? And I've taken bride and grooms from church to venue just because it was, and I've taken guests that haven't managed to get on the buses or taxis or whatever. That is the thing. If you do book taxis, for example, to take guests from church to venue, you need it all in written confirmation.
Yeah.
Work out how long. Don't just think it's 10 minutes away. You need to think, right, it takes 5 minutes to get everybody onto a taxi because they're idiots. It takes 10 minutes to drive. It then takes 5 minutes to drop them off. And then it takes 10 minutes to come back. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's half an hour for a 10 minute, half an hour for a 10 minute drive. So yeah, just think about that. Back to evening. Where were we on evening? Oh, the guy shouting at me for taxis. So if you're a guest listening to this, please book your taxis.
It's difficult though because you don't know what time you're going to want to go.
You've just got to pick that. If the wedding if it's carriages at midnight and you're a party person, go till 12:30. But actually, sometimes the venues are like, bye, get out. So if you get an invite to a wedding, sort it out. It drives me insane We had people at our wedding.
My mum's asking me about one in August, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care?
I'll figure it out when I.
No. That's how I end up having to take people home.
I'm famous. Someone at the venue will do it for me.
We'll shout you out on the podcast if you take Beth home. No, you've got to be prepared. You've got to be organised. The least you can do is be organised.
Yeah.
I feel like you're still not going to book a taxi.
Oh, gosh.
I don't disagree with you. Literally, I booked. So bearing in mind, Brian and I got engaged in
You
on New Year's
left
Eve.
this really last
Yeah.
minute.
New Year's Eve 2020. We got engaged and we got married on New Year's Eve 2022. There was 2 entire years to book transport, and I reckon I did it 4 weeks before.
I just book a limo.
For like 5 people. You can't cram them in. You've got to get, so we started. So anyway, let's get to the evening part. So I figured out that we had guests that were coming. We were an hour and a half away.
Can I say this stressed me out though? This really stressed me out.
No,
Because
no.
you would have thought this was a really good idea when you did it.
It is a good idea.
No, I didn't know what time I was leaving. Right?
It was right,
And
it
it
was
was
on everything. You got a text.
It was
you
in
got
the,
a website.
I didn't get a text.
Yes, you did. Don't make me find a text.
I didn't get a text for the
Don't
evening.
make me find a text.
I got a text for.
How did you know you were on the later one then?
Because it was in the fucking toilet.
Yes,
and someone
exactly.
told me, Beth,
Right,
look in the
I'm
toilet.
going to stop Beth here because I sent out text messages
No, she
and then
didn't.
I printed out the schedule and put it in the toilets, which is a hashtag top tip. Put anything you want people to read in the toilets. But I had the schedule and I had to work out who was going early. I had to work out where everybody was staying. We had some people then that didn't come in the evening. And I'm like, fuck's sake, I can't. Now we've got people who are not on the right taxi. It was horrific. It wasn't. It was fine, like guest perspective, it was fine. But for me, it was horrific. Why weren't you involved in any of that? You didn't have to do any of that.
She's talking to Brian.
I know, that just annoyed me. Why wouldn't you help me either? I must have got about, and again, it was harder because it was New Year's Eve. So to look at the buses, they were expensive and they would, so I managed to find 3 accommodations that were nearby. And I told people they had to book one. If they booked one of those 3, that there would be transport for them. So originally we started looking at coaches because that seemed the most obvious option. So
like a, you know, when you go on holiday. And you
yes,
get on the coach.
exactly. It was like shuttles, honestly. Yeah. So the airport transfer would go to one of 3 accommodations. So we told people if you stayed in this accommodation, we'd sort out transport for you. So the plan was that the coach would go to number 1, number 2, number 3, and then go back to the ceremony. And then it would go and pick up evening guests at number 1, number 2, number 3, and back to the venue. And then at the end of the night, it would do one run taking everybody back to the 3 accommodation, and then another run taking everyone back to the accommodation because I don't think it fit everybody.
You got evening guests there?
Yes.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
Well, I had to. It was New Year's Eve.
Sounds like a them problem.
But you couldn't get there.
Drive there?
Yeah, but then the car's there. I know. Anyway, this is honestly, it was
So then-
honestly the bane of my life. So then the bus thing wasn't working out, mainly because they were either booked, not going to do it because it was New Year's Eve, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up finding a taxi company. So I booked 3 taxis.
Minibuses.
Were they minibuses, were they?
Yep.
Were they?
Well,
they weren't a minibus.
They
were
weren't
like
a minibus. They were 7-seater. 8-seater.
Were they?
3, 6,
No,
7,
there was
8. 8 seaters, 9 including the driver.
Ooh. And then there was some that were smaller because I then had to work out how many people. So then we sorted out the taxis. So the taxi would go to one of the 3 accommodation, pick up the people that were there, bring them to the venue, again for the evening guests, and then drop people home in the evening. But because they were only so many taxis, I then had to work out the earlier people leaving in the night and later people leaving in the night, because there was one taxis that were going to have to leave at 12:30, and then by the time it dropped them all back and came back, it was going to be 1:30. So I had to look at my guests and be like, who doesn't mind waiting up till 1:30 and who would rather go earlier?
I was on the latter.
You party gal.
I was sat eating pizzas and donuts.
Mm-hmm. Loving life.
I
I put like people with kids. I put Isla, my both sets of parents, like all parents went on the first one, like all of that sort of thing. And then I left all of the mates and stuff like that.
So my top tip for transport, book a venue that you're getting married at. There's car parking and accommodation.
Yeah, but
Do you like the traditional wedding cars?
No.
Why?
Because I don't really care about cars. And because I don't see many of them because a lot of
Do you
venues
know, I hate when you've got
there.
like shove the bride in and it's really tiny.
Yeah. like literally pushing it in. Remember when camper vans were all the rage as well?
Yeah.
They were cute. They fitted the aesthetic of the wedding.
How do you feel about horse and carriage?
It was very Katie Price on it.
I love Peter and Joe and Katie Price.
He was at Manor by the Lake the other day.
He was in Cheltenham.
Yeah,
Should have popped down to see him.
Hello.
Hello, love.
I'm your mysterious girl.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's actually do top tips for transport. Do you know what? I don't even know what to tell you. You need to tell people ahead of time what taxis. You need to tell people ahead of time that they need to book their own transport if they're going to. Because the problem is if people have to drive themselves, they won't drink.
Yeah.
And then it's not a vibe. Okay, so my top 3 tips for transport, which is the shittest part of wedding planning. Number 1 is let people know if they have to sort themselves out and give them taxi numbers, like any information you can give to them. Go, here you go, you do this yourself now. Tip 2, if you are sorting out transport and buses and things like that for people, put up some kind of signage that shows when they're getting on it and where from and stuff like that in the toilets, because everybody goes to the toilets, they'll see it, or in the newspapers, like stuff like that. Good to have. And tip 3 is don't feel bad to announce it from the DJ. Like, I feel like when he goes, the bus to Gloucester is leaving shortly. Please make your way outside, otherwise you'll be stuck here. Hilarious.
I think that's an ick.
I knew you'd say that. You can't get people out otherwise, though.
Sounds like a them problem.
You say this.
Sounds
but
like
at
the
end of
wedding planner's problem.
No, I'm gone by then, mate. Unless you book me to stay to do taxis.
That's a good idea.
No, please, I'm so tired. But you need to have, like, luckily for me, Hannah wasn't too drunk at our wedding.
Yeah.
So she was like, Beth, get on that fucking taxi right now. And we got on a taxi as well. So as the bride and groom, when you go, people will actually follow you. How do you feel about destination weddings?
Can I stop you there?
Yeah. I just started, but okay.
Helicopters.
Yes, okay. Hold on. What day is it? Yes. I've got a helicopter on Friday that the bride and groom know nothing about.
What?
How sick is that? Imagine coming out of your church and then being like, oh, by the way, there's a helicopter over there for you to
I
get in.
just don't know how I feel about helicopters. I like them, but I'm just kind of like, they remind me of like very old school. You know, like the weddings and they're like in a big dress and...
Yeah, but they're pretty...
I just don't think I'd want to go in one.
The only reason I wouldn't want to go in one is because I'd be a bit scared.
I'd rather like upgrade my honeymoon
Yeah, because they
tickets
ain't
to first
cheap.
class.
They ain't cheap. So the Wilderness Reserve, those guys came in a helicopter as well. And it was the day before and nobody actually saw them, but it was sick. It was a good experience just for them,
Yeah.
which I liked.
I suppose if you
quite
like
bougie.
that kind of thing, then
Yeah. You get to wear little headphones like we're wearing now. Great photos. But yeah, so by the time this episode airs, they will have been in their helicopter. I think that's quite cool. I like it. But again, logistically, please let me know. Like if as a couple you think your parents are planning something or somebody's planning something, I really need to know.
Yeah.
You can't just whack out a helicopter. It
Whack
needs
out
a
a
lot
heli.
more. Needs a lot more planning for that. But luckily, we've left enough time in their day to do it, so it's fine. How do you feel about helicopters? Would you get a helicopter? What if somebody
No.
bought it for you? What if somebody?
No, I wouldn't want to.
There's 2 things I want to tell you about. One, I've forgotten it. Oh, it's just there.
Sounds
okay.
great.
Yeah, no.
That sounds really good.
As a couple,
Can I have
it? As a couple, how do you feel about people surprising you with stuff?
No, actually, I love and hate it because like if it's something I wouldn't want, I'd be pissed. If it's something I wanted, it'd be good.
But whose job is it for you to know that it's a good thing?
But I don't know.
So I had a wedding the other day at a venue that is got very strict rules with their sound.
Mm-hmm.
So the mum rang me like a few weeks before. Kudos to her. Thank you for getting in touch to talk about it. So they booked it. The mum booked it as a surprise for the bride and groom, which was like brilliant. But when I was speaking to the couple, so the mum was doing a speech and she was gonna the singing waiter was gonna interrupt her speech, and I was like, cool, sick. But you can't do it outside because of the sound rules, and you can't do it in the main wedding breakfast room because of the sound rules. So when I was doing my final meeting with the couple, they were like, oh, my mum wants to do a speech. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, pretending I knew nothing about it. Like, oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely fine. I think we should do it like on the dance floor area, knowing full well that's the only place they can do it. And she was like, no, we want to do it outside. And I was like, I just don't think it's going to sound very good outside. And they were like, oh, maybe we'll just do it with all the other speeches then in the main room. And I was like, I really think it should be part of like a welcome speech. And then we went back and forth for ages, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, they said they wanted it outside. And I was like, okay, cool. On the day then I just brought everybody inside. And she was like, are we meant to be going inside? And I was like, yeah, just come in. But in my head, I'm thinking, fuck, imagine if they hate this. But where...
What did she say?
They loved it. Yeah. And I knew that they'd love it because the mum did like give examples. She was a dancer. Like it was cool. And it was a good... they broke up her speech and they broke up the day a little bit and we worked out the timings nicely. And it was a vibe. It was good. But imagine if she turned around and was like, how could you let that happen? So I think I need to put something in my contract that is like, are you open to surprises?
Definitely.
Mm.
I'm not.
Yeah, but you say that.
No.
What if somebody... Who's the guy you like that sings?
No.
Luke.
Don't mention him.
Why?
He fucking cancelled on us.
Well, cancelled what?
Our party.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 2 weeks before.
Oh.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Don't fucking want him there.
Oh, well, I didn't mention the end of the name, so if people can guess it from that, then fine.
But I bet you someone probably would have. Like, Jack knows I loved him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So would you be anti...
Yeah, don't fucking cancel on me 2 weeks before because you've got a better gig.
All right, well, what if it was something else? What if What if somebody booked singing waiters for you?
Absolutely. Categorically not.
Why?
I'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh.
I don't like them. I don't want them. Don't bring them into my... Like, just let me plan my wedding, please.
Oh my God, we also had a couple.
No.
The mum had booked surprise waiters. She found out about it and then said to me, like, she was like, I don't fucking want them. I don't want them to fall over. And I was like, okay, like maybe we can figure out a way because she didn't want to upset her mum either. And I think we ended up doing it just after their first dance. I think that's how they kind of did it, which worked nicely. But yeah, I get it. I get when people don't want it. But how can you say no to a surprise?
Honestly... Hear it here first. No surprise. I hate surprises.
What if I thought it was a good surprise?
No, because your surprises, you would like them for you, but we're different, so different.
No, but I would know if you would like it or not.
No, because I think you'd be like, oh, just suck it up and get on with it.
What are you basing that on?
Don't know.
Okay. We were talking about something. Oh, I wanted to play you a TikTok, but we were talking about destination transport before that, so we need to go back to that.
I think destination transport. Sorry, it's on you.
I need to play you a TikTok.
Okay, go on.
It's quite funny. Shout out to Joel Wood.
Show me then.
Stop calling him your fiancé. He's only your fiancé if he comes from the fiancé region of France. Otherwise, he's just a sparkling boyfriend. A prosecco. Stop calling him.
Prosecco.
Brian, you're such a prosecco.
He's a husband now. That was a bit anticlimax.
Oh, fuck you. Do you know what? Do you know what?
Your toes.
Stop it. Leave it. Your toes aren't painted either. Look at my fingernails. Look at your fingernails.
Yeah, but your toes are actually on my table.
It's really uncomfortable to sit here sometimes. I want to sit cross-legged, but I've got my chunky legs and my shorts on.
Short shorts.
My short shorts.
Can I do bitches from Bride now?
No
one else wants to talk about this.
Is right. This is the problem with transport, is that nobody wants to talk about it, and it ends up becoming the worst part of wedding planning. Literally, you're on your phone now, not listening to me.
I'm getting a bitches from a bride up.
Fine, like, guys.
How do you want to end this topic?
Just, my only advice for you is to sort it out early. I'm looking directly down the camera for this because it's really important. It is stressful, but when you actually sit, like, ring a taxi company and be like, here's what we want to do. Can you let me know the best way of doing it? And then please put that information in the toilet so that everybody sees it. Please put it everywhere because guests are idiots. No one will listen to you. That's it. End of rant. Good luck. Before you do a bitches from a bride, can I do a bitches from a Georgie?
Go on then.
So my bitch, and we didn't talk about this, we didn't come back onto it when we did the food topic, which is supplier food. And I have got a real issue with venues/caterers that do not feed suppliers. I know that I have been paid for to be fed. Don't give me nothing. Don't give me a stupid face when I say, is this supplier food? I'm not asking like in the middle of the main course when they're serving everybody. I'm asking at the end, is there supplier food? And they're like, well, I'll see what I've got. No. Just do it when you finish doing the food for everybody else. Do it as like a little separate table, another table that's on the end of all the suppliers that you're supposed to be feeding. Why are you looking at me like that? You're not there to be fed. Do you know how, like, I would work like a 14-hour day.
We get asked all the time, do you need food?
But they won't give it you. So there's no point being asked. And the couple will pay, like the couple will be charged for a 3-course meal for suppliers. Guess what they don't get? Yes, seagulls, a 3-course meal.
My bride the other day got me brownies.
Adorable.
For us to set up with.
Love it. Perfect. Wonderful.
Give me snacks to
Try
set up
working
with.
the whole day.
We'll
and
bring
then...
a fucking packed lunch.
No,
then.
here's my other issue on that.
Bring
I
some
can't bring a
hummus and
packed lunch.
peppers.
Where am I putting it? In my hot car?
Well, get an ice bag.
What are you talking? As if I haven't got enough stuff to sort out. And also, because I've had this
You
before where
are
people are
prima donna.
No.
Why are you shouting for?
Because do you know what? This is actually my biggest bugbear for weddings. Because unless you want me to leave during your food part to go and get myself some food, fine, absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. If you want me to be on site in case something else happens, Same for photographers and videographers. If somebody starts getting up and doing a speech, that ain't being filmed if they've had to go and get lunch.
Yeah.
But the problem isn't the couples. The problem is the caterers and the venues that make it so low down on priority list. Like literally the other day I asked for evening food knowing full well I'd been paid for because I helped plan the wedding.
What was it? What was the evening
pizza. And I was like, so I went in and Brian and I were working. And I was like, oh, can we have a veggie and a meat one? And they were like, yeah, we're putting them out onto the thing. I was like, oh no, can we have them because we're working? Well, I don't know what's left. I was like, well, can you find some because they've paid for it?
Do you get like Aggie back?
I genuinely try not to, but at this point I'm starving. I've worked all day. The least you can do is give us some food.
Yeah.
Sorry. Carry on. Do a bitch from bread.
Okay. So, hello. Wedding is August bank holiday Sunday, and I'm so glad I found this podcast. Absolutely love every episode.
Thank you.
I have a bitches from a bride I'd love to get an opinion on. One of my fiance's groomsmen, he met through being boyfriend and then husband of his friend in college. So he's known them for 13 years. Okay. That sounds a bit incestuous, but I may have read it wrong.
No. He met them through being
boyfriend and husband
of a friend.
Of his friend in college. Okay. Friend of friends. For 13 years. 8 of which they were married and have 3 children together. The latest being born in September last year. The groomsman left his wife and family at home in February for a 21-year-old girl he met at work. His wife messaged me in March saying she wouldn't come to the wedding as didn't want to make it awkward. I told her she was my fiance's friend first and that we'd love her to be there, but entirely up to her and didn't need the decision for a while, so to wait and see how she felt. She messaged me in April saying if we'd still have her, she'd love to come to the wedding, and her and her separated husband are civil for the sake of the kids. Cool. Yep. We've done the seating plan to make sure no one's sat near each other and only had the groomsmen over for a barbecue about 2 weekends ago talking about the wedding in general and how excited we were. The groomsman this weekend has deleted me, the bride, off Instagram. My fiance has heard he's done a social media purge of anyone in contact with his ex-wife, but I don't have any contact with her except for messaging me about the wedding. I find this really offensive and told my fiance I'm uncomfortable that at our wedding, one of the groomsmen has deleted me, the bride, but not the other groomsmen's girlfriends, and feel like it's targeted despite me having said nothing to him and having no close relationship with his wife. I haven't forced my fiance to say anything, but feel like he should have a word with his groomsmen.
Oh, that's
should I forget about it?
No, I'm going to pause you there. That's the worst bit of it is I'm not telling my fiance to say something, but they fucking better say something.
Should I forget about it and not be bothered, or am I entitled to feel it's awkward?
For the sake of your own wedding, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a groomsman that much on the day, like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Why is he being such a dick?
Because he's gone off his 21-year-old.
Yeah, so why is he being a dick?
It's just mansplaining style. I think you're entitled definitely to feel the way you feel, but just don't make it a big deal because, like, I remember back in the day, you know, when you'd like unfollow someone or follow someone.
It's petty as fuck.
Yeah, like literally so petty.
No, just don't bring it up. Don't ask your fiance to do anything because you're just putting him in an awkward position because he has to actually.
Because he'll probably be like, "I'll get over it."
Yeah, basically, you're not going to like his answer.
Yeah,
or he's going to fall out the groomsman just before, and it'll just be annoying.
But it is petty AF from that man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's not that man though. That's the 21-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's 21-year-old. That's 21-year-old behavior.
Quite often, and this is the biggest stereotype I'm ever going to say on here. Quite often, when a man be being a bitch, it's the woman. It is, isn't it? No man ever sits there and goes, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unfollow some people.
Yeah, well, some do.
No, they don't.
I know some wetties.
Not without a girl going, why the fuck are you following them?
Are you watching Love Island?
No, because I'm older than 21.
Oh. Well, I'm watching it and there's this guy on there, Mitch, and he's just like, he's literally just like so forceful in such a wet flannel. I can imagine him doing something like that.
Forceful?
Like, oh, I fancy you, yeah. I only want to get to know you and only you, and like literally just put all this pressure on this one girl. She was like, nah.
I'm more married at first sight, me. Australia. Don't tell me anything because I'm not far enough ahead.
What point you got to?
I've just got to where Harrison is just left Bronte. The second, like when they've actually been together, they were like best friends. They went on that couples retreat thing, and now he's just left her.
Oh, you're so behind.
I know. I've been busy.
I love it. It's good. There's a Maths America as well. That's what we're going to go on to next.
No, I've tried to watch it UK and stuff. I just
love
like the Aussies.
The UK.
But I did go into a marquee the other day and then I was like, how's it going? And I was like, fuck.
Oh,
no, not how's it going. How you going? And I was like, oh.
Ew. Tip jar.
Okay. You've lost the tip jar, so you're going to have to think of something yourself, aren't you?
Bouquet toss.
Where appropriate.
That is
No, hold on.
open-ended. Go on.
Okay, no, I don't really like them. However,
Why?
because
Why?
first of all, I don't want to throw the bouquet that I've bought. So if you're going to do a bouquet toss, get a second bouquet, get a tossing bouquet. Yes, it's a thing. Chill out.
Toss a bouquet.
And then you've got to do it at the right time in the day.
I think it's fucking awkward.
But
I got made to do it at a wedding that I wasn't really like.
it's basically like, if you're not married, come and show yourself.
But also, I didn't really like know them that well, so I was like, "This is fucking awkward if I
my
catch it."
problem is
And we have crafted that bouquet.
that's
And
why
I
you got to
keep-
get a tossing
I
one.
keep seeing these videos on TikTok where they walk in and like, ooh, 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 and I'm like,
whacking it around.
that bouquet. Those poor, like we call our roses girls, and they're like, we're like the poor girls. They need looking after.
My problem is, if I was going to do a bouquet toss, I'm going to win that bouquet toss.
You're gonna throw it back to yourself.
No. But if I'm going to be in one, if you're going to throw a bouquet, if I was single,
sorry, that's like someone running
that's
for the
what
bus.
I mean, and that's why I don't want to do it.
Ick.
And I agree. I totally agree. That's why.
Brian's ick is like no shoes on the dance floor, but
No, because he'll be stood there proud, going, "Yeah, my fucking girl got it." Because I will catch it. I'm happy to.
Would that make you proud, Brian?
No, I know it would. It wouldn't make me proud either. But
I'd
if I'm going
feel-
to do it, I'm going to win it.
If that was like if it, like the boys did it, or whatever, and Jack caught, I'd be like, ooh.
I do
It's like
agree.
running for the bus.
I hate when people, when you see two people grab it and then they both try and pull it, it makes me go, But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to win it. So I'm going to be stood at the front and I'm going to do one of
Nah.
those rugby
You're embarrassing,
pickups.
mate.
And that's why I don't want to do them.
You're embarrassing.
But that's why I don't think they should happen. I
Nah.
don't like the awkwardness. However, I did a wedding and it was a florist and she did a bouquet toss. And I'm like, cool, makes sense. I like it. She had a different bouquet for it. To me, if it fits the vibe, cool, do it.
Okay.
And we did it on the dance floor.
And that's that.
Oh, all right. Fucking hell.
Nah.
No more about bouquet tosses?
Nah, I'm done. Don't do it.
Okay.
Because if you want to preserve your bouquet, like I think
Yes,
pay-
you got a tossing bouquet.
But it's a fucking expensive thing to just get to toss. Bouquets aren't cheaper because it's a tossing bouquet.
Yeah, because it definitely would be cheaper because you wouldn't get the same bouquet.
Well, yeah, you could get
Get an
cheaper
easy
flowers
bouquet,
and
yeah.
whatever. But it's just not the point, though, is it? It just feels fake. It feels forced.
I think we better end
Like
that
you.
episode there. What? I'm winning it.
Fake and forced.
Yeah, fake and force me. I get called that a lot.
Oh.
Let's just end this one. What was this episode about? This was the worst episode we've ever done.
Do you
It's
think?
it's just a boring topic.
If this airs, you're lucky.
Yeah, but it's an important, boring topic. Next week, let's do groomsmen next week, and then we can bitch a bit more. Okay, let's go. Let's hurry up to next week.
Okay, sorry, Georgie made me talk about this boring topic. Thank you, love you, bye.
Bye.